Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. We have another exciting show planned for you tonight with Mr. Robert Santee, his lovely wife, Ms. Rochelle Santee, and the author of a book about him, Mr. Johnny McDowell. We're going to jump straight into the story tonight. Tonight is April 29th, 2015, and it's a very serious state of affairs in the United States because of Baltimore. In fact, the young kids in Houston are protesting now to get to the studio. I passed 288 and McGregor 288 in Southmore, the Denny's, and kids are out there. There are more police out there than kids out there protesting. They have the mounted patrol, they have the police, they're all over the bridges in the neighborhood that I live in, because I live right by the Denny's there. So anyway, it's a somber night because of what's going on in Baltimore. And let's just take heed. We have got to care about our children in the criminal justice system. It's gone too far. As you know, viewers, one of the reasons why I started this show was because of my frustration at being a criminal defense lawyer that cannot help everybody. People call me when their kids are incarcerated and they want to change. They want something done about what's going on in the criminal justice system. And I'm just one person. I'm just one player. I didn't create the system. I can't change the system. I can just work within the rules and the parameters of the system. And I try to engage the community in getting involved in the system. The system got this way because we didn't do anything about it.
True.
We're taxpayers, and all we do is sit around and act like it's not our community. We can demand that the mayor have a police chief that's fair. We can demand that there's a fair police chief. Remember, viewers, I remind you that this year is the year of the candidates, the city government candidates, the people who create the mayor. The next mayor will select the next police chief. Where has our mayor been? I have nothing against Anise Parker. She seems like a nice and fair lady, but when it comes to law enforcement and our black children, she's silent. She doesn't say anything about it. And because she doesn't say anything about it, it seems that our police chief can't say anything about it because that's his boss.
That's right.
And so I know he cares because he's been on this show and talked to my viewers. I know as an individual person he cares, but his hands are tied under the current administration. She does not seem to care about our children. And we have got to stop police from making the rest of America and the rest of the city not believe their lying eyes. We saw Chad Holly get beat up on TV, and we acted like it was okay. That was not okay. Our police officers are supposed to arrest people, not take justice into their own hands, okay? And we've got to demand that. And as we talked today at the press conference, Houston is a powder keg that is waiting to explode. Our children go to jail for nothing right now. Sometimes they've done nothing and they go to jail. So sometimes they don't mind shooting somebody to go to jail, okay? They're going to jail for nothing. So what we have done is allowed a subculture of people to be created that will take this into their own hands eventually. And as the elders and as the people who run this community, we have got to care about our kids. We've got to have community policing. We've got to have community police officers in neighborhoods, in storefronts where they know the kids in the community. The kids know them. The kids respect them. The kids trust them. The police can intervene and not let other officers misuse a good kid that just might be. Children are going to fight, they're going to steal, they're going to do petty crimes, okay? We did that when we were growing up. We smoked weed. We didn't go to jail.
That's right.
You know, we have got to have community policing again where police know kids, and we only put the bad people we're afraid of in prison. Okay, just the people we're afraid of, not the people we don't like. Right. And right now, we're putting people we don't like in jail. If you say something back to the police and they don't like it, you catch a cage.
That's right.
You catch a case. We got to stop this. And that's why in Baltimore, they've had enough of it. You know, one kid got killed for no reason, broke his back for what? He's riding a bicycle? You can ride a bicycle and not be harassed by the police. We still have civil rights in America. We still have civil liberties in America. The police are not, they work for us. They're public service. We don't work for them.
That's good.
And if I want my kids in my community to drive down the street on a bicycle, I want to ride on this bicycle just like the kids on Westheimer ride on a bicycle without being harassed by the police. Just like they ride down Memorial in Memorial Park without being harassed and stopped and said, hey, come here, and treated like a dog. okay? We have got to demand that our police treat everybody the same. If you're going to stop 10 kids and go to their cars on sophomore, then you better stop on Memorial and go through 10 kids' cars too.
Yes.
And if you don't do that, stop. I'm tired of it. I've had enough. All right, so now on to Rob. I got to give him my rant for the night, but now, Mr. Santee, please tell us your story. How did you get here? Tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start young.
Well, first I, second of 5 siblings. 1 brother, 3 sisters. Come up in a little old place called 6th Ward off of Washington Avenue in Shepherd. Had a
valuable real estate now.
Yeah, valuable. Had a great, great mother. Wasn't supposed to be able to walk without sticks. I had polio when I was growing up. Wasn't able to move by myself. Had to have help.
How old were you when you got polio?
Must have been about 2, 3 hours when I started moving around on my own. I was about 7 or 8, maybe 9. And
so you had polio at birth?
No, well, 1 year old I call it, yeah.
Is that the year of the vaccine or the sugar cane?
The sugar cane.
So that means you were born in 48?
46.
46, okay.
Yeah, 46.
I had a cousin born in 48 that got his polio.
46.
Right before the vaccine.
46.
Oh, the sugar cube, I'm sorry.
And growing up, the way I grew up, being kind of spoiled, mother had to do everything for me and raised 4 other kids by herself. My mother and father broke up at an early age. Mother never went back home to him. So I really didn't know if I was going to be able to walk or not. I know what the doctor said, but I know as I got old and was able to move around on my own, and my mother made me play sports. I wouldn't play, she made me play sports. Matter of fact, she played with me. And as I got old and started to leave Harper School, which was my junior high school, and everyone I was around growing up was on drugs. And my mother decided she wanted to send me away from the drug scene. And,
what was the drug then? Was that heroin?
Pills.
Like Christmas
trees and Quaaludes and Quaaludes 714s, White Crosses and stuff like that. But through the grace of God and my mother believing in me, I was able to move around on my own, and I was legs wasn't strong, so I still was on a stick. But as my mother worked with me in therapy and stuff, was able to get my legs strong, and I was able to start moving around through the grace of God, playing ball. And once I was able to play ball, Ms. King, I realized that we can do anything we want to do through the grace of God. And as I moved forward, when I left Harper School, I was sent out to a place called Carverdale, which is in the South area now. More and more, it was more like a country then. We used to ride horses to school and tie them up at the school.
Wow.
And
what was the name of that school?
Carverdale. Mm-hmm.
And where did you start off? You had a horse on Shepherd in Washington?
No, with my grandmother. I went out in the country.
Oh, okay.
With my mother's mom, and she had horses.
Okay.
Cows and chickens. I remember the outdoors bathroom and stuff like that.
And that's in Cyfair area?
Yeah. It was strange to me because I never seen an outdoor bathroom until I went out there. But all in all, it made me a person that believed in myself. I knew that everything I touched after that, after I was able to control my legs and things, at that time I didn't know Jesus or God. I was made to go to church. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have a relationship with him like I have now. And as I was able to perform and do the things I did, it's not because of me. God gave me some uncounted ability. I had great ability God gave me. Things that I did, I didn't do because it was me, because God gave us things, power and stuff, you know, and I had that. But getting back to what I was saying, Ms. King, is as I never left home before. Got drafted out of high school after I made All-State in basketball.
What high school was that?
Carverdale.
Okay.
I made All-State in basketball, baseball, football every year. Just went down to the men's state basketball tournament in San Antonio and just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, High School Hall of Fame after 50 years.
All right.
After 50 years. But my life took a turn when I got with Houston. I didn't want to play baseball. I wanted to play basketball.
But you got drafted for baseball.
Yeah, my mother signed a contract that I didn't want her to sign.
What year was that?
66, ma'am.
Okay.
And kind of threw me off because I didn't want to play ball. I wanted to play basketball. And, you know, once you enter into something that you're not wholehearted in, you just don't succeed as well. And I became stubborn. I wanted to do what I want to do. And got married. It didn't work. Got married again, and it didn't work. Just things started happening to me. Had service station business and barbecue business that didn't work. Then I became a kind of a bitter person.
What were you angry about?
I was angry with my mom.
Really, after all those
After
years?
finding a baseball contract. Matter of fact, I didn't set foot in my mom's home for 10 years.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. After everything she did for me, I just turned bitter.
Now let me ask you this: why were you so bitter? Did you get money when you signed the baseball
yes.
contract? I know in the '60s they didn't pay as much.
Oh yes, I got
and was
it.
that a minor league?
Yeah, well, it was a minor league contract, but I was drafted #1 in the first round, #6 overall.
Okay.
So I got great money. Plus they got my mom a home, paid for my lady friend then that I didn't marry, schooling and everything.
Wow. And they didn't require you to go to school?
No, I went off to baseball. Matter of fact, when I finished school, I made All-State in '66. 2 days later, I was on an airplane going to Cocoa, Florida, to play ball.
So you graduated in '66 and went straight on into the pros?
Yes.
Minor league?
Minor league. Didn't really have a childhood because as I was growing up, for 7, 8 years, I was on a stick, podio.
Right.
So, and then when I was able to, God blessed me to be able to do the things I did, I played ball all year, never no summer off.
Right.
And when I come out of school, I went straight to baseball. So I was kind of caught up. It's still a little child was in me.
Right.
Never been away from home. First time away from home. And during those times, Ms. King, they was they was hanging black people where I was playing ball.
Where was that?
In Carolina. And I couldn't stay at the hotel. We had to stay in private homes. So I had never seen that before in my life because being from Houston, only time I seen anything other than a black person was when they would come into the house to sell something.
Right. So when you were at Carverdale, that was an all-black school.
All-black school.
And when you were at Harper Middle School, that was a junior high school, that was all black.
They didn't integrate till a couple of years later after I got out of school.
Okay.
So when I get with the Astros, then we integrated.
So the Astros were integrated. When you got drafted, was that into an integrated team or a black team?
Integrated team. It was the big club, Houston Astros.
Okay. So when did they start integrating the Astros?
No, Astros was integrated all the time.
They've always been integrated.
Yeah, high school wasn't integrated.
Okay. No, I understand that, but I didn't know. I just wanted to know the history of the Astros.
Oh,
I didn't know
yeah. See, they was Colt 45 before they became the Astros. The Astrodome sat on top of Colt 45 Stadium.
Okay.
Where they played it.
But when you got drafted in '66, it was the Astros?
Astros.
Okay. And had they already built the Astrodome?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Astrodome was built in '65, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But being in the situation I was in, Ms. King, it was a situation where I have always had a bad attitude, and that's another reason why I didn't succeed as well as I could have, because I believed what I believed, and I did what I did. I felt it was right for me. It was right for me, you know, and I couldn't accept anyone telling me anything, you know. And right now, Ms. King, that's part of my problem right now today. It's part of my problem right now today. have a hard time. If I feel like something in my head is right, it's right. You know, and I'm trying. I want to be honest on this show. And as I participate in spring training and different little clubs I played on, Mr. King, I was uncoached. They called me. They said I was uncoached. I couldn't be coached. I knew everything, and that was part of my problem.
You were uncoachable.
Yeah, uncoachable. Couldn't nobody coach me anything. You know, I felt like this here. If you can't beat me doing it, you can't tell me how to do it.
Wow.
You know, but that don't make it right though.
And you know, that's interesting that you went from a background where you were basically handicapped, you know, walking on sticks, couldn't balance yourself, became a world-class athlete, and then didn't want to take direction.
I want to take directions.
That's interesting. You would think that you would be humble and just be glad that you can walk on your own, and if somebody could help you, because your mother was helping you, so you had to be coached to learn how to walk. You know, you said your mother did a lot of therapy with you. You had therapists, so you would think that mindset would be one of accepting people's help in becoming a better person. So how did it flip the logical script and make you a person that kind of rebelled against it?
I think, and I'm just thinking. I don't really know. I'm confused how it happened, but I know this here, Mr. King, that I thought I was God. I thought I was God, and
big statement.
Yeah, I knew everything I did. I was good in, and I always felt that whatever Robert Santee wanted, Robert Santee could get. And in a sense, Miss King, that was true because I had no female problems.
Right.
You know, I didn't treat anyone fair. You know, I just something was in me that, and I like to say, since I know Jesus, I like to say them demons. And as I moved on and didn't get far as I wanted to in baseball.
How long did you play baseball?
From 66 to about 75, 76.
That's a long time.
That's a long time, 9 or 10 years.
Yeah, I
Did you ever get from the minor league to the Astros?
one time, not with Houston, with another team.
Okay.
But I just didn't care about the game of baseball. I cared about basketball, and that hunted me right up to today, because I tell my wife a lot of times, them guys playing basketball couldn't do anything with me. I talk about it on the Ralph Cooper show a lot.
So why didn't you persuade your mother to allow you to go to college to play basketball? Because I know back then you couldn't go straight to play pro basketball from high school.
It all happened so fast, I didn't even know what was happening. I know that Houston, Cincinnati, the Giants had been drafted me through my sophomore and senior year. And I didn't have the type of coach to sit down and say, look, man, this is what's going on. See, back then, Mr. King, all the coaches were concerned about putting a tag on their collar. We didn't have anyone to sit down and say, okay, this is what you need to do. And
ask you, what do you want to do?
Yeah, never had that.
Help you develop what you wanted to do.
Yes, ma'am. And I was sitting, like I say, we was in Prairie View then. This is what that's all about, the UIL. That's what that's all about. That's where the state tournament was held at that time. And when I realized that the state tournament was over, they was calling out the all-state team, and I was part of the all-state team. And they was taking different pictures and things like that. And when the guy come down and told me that I had just signed with the Astros, I said, how did I sign with the Astros? I haven't signed anything, you know. But my mother did it, and she felt she was doing the best thing for me, and I love my mom, but
she kind of did you wrong on that.
Yeah, I feel that it was about money. She wanted money.
Right. Now, when you said you didn't speak to her for 10 years, was it from then to 10 years, or did you wait a while before you got mad and stopped speaking to her?
Well, no, I didn't enter her home. We talked on the phone briefly, but no, I didn't enter her home because I felt that she didn't give me a chance to make my mind up.
And she didn't talk to you about it.
No, she did not.
Right.
But my brother had gotten in some trouble, Miss King, and she needed money to get a lawyer and everything and try to keep him out of prison. And and this is what she explained to me, that she had to have the money, so the only way she could get the kind of money she needed was sign the contract for me, you know. And that bothered me tremendously.
So you had a lot of resentment from that.
Yes, I did.
And I think that's a hard pill to swallow. I think that I would have had some resentment too. What do you think? What do you think?
I agree because it's like you took what I could offer without really asking me because you had another sibling that was in trouble. So it really didn't matter at the time what I felt
What was
or
best
what I
for me?
didn't feel. It wasn't about me. It seems really, in all reality, it was more about getting my brother out of trouble.
What do you think, Johnny?
Well, at the same time, we have to understand, I'm not a mother. So I can't place myself in you all's shoes. But when it comes down to a mother and a child, they're going to go to the extent. I mean, if she used this opportunity in order to help one of her children, at that time, she just did what she had to do. But my question is to Mr. Santee, the fact that you found out that the contract was already done, the deal was already done, did you have the opportunity to discuss that with your parent or with the ownership with the Astros at that time?
Well, Johnny, at that time, I didn't want to discuss anything with anyone at that time. All I knew, I was put on the 4th of March of 1966. I was boarding a plane going to Cocoa, Florida.
How old were you? Were you 18 already?
18. I was
So in reality, let me just say this from a legal standpoint, at 18 you can sign your own contracts. And really your mother's not supposed to be signing your contract. I mean, at 18, that's the legal age of contract. So if he's 17, his mother can sign his contract. So
it was all done underhanded.
Right.
It was
that's
already
not right.
it was already set.
And that was the law then.
Yeah.
Even then?
It was. Now, the only thing that could have been different is that if you were still in high school, maybe your mother could still sign something for you. But if you're 18, has always been the legal age to bind you in a contract.
It was my senior year.
Yeah.
It was my senior.
Yeah, he at 18, he could have gone off and lived on his own and got an apartment. I'm sure you knew people in high school that lived on their own.
Not many.
I did. I mean, I knew some in
yeah.
San Antonio. I'm just saying, but you could.
Yeah. But you know.
Because even to get married, you're old enough to get married. I don't think even back then. I think if you were 16 or 14, your mama had to sign for you. But at 18, you could do it by yourself.
She felt like she did the right thing.
No, I agree, and that would be a difficult position to be in. I mean, I only have one child as a mother, so I can't even compare it. But I can't walk in her shoes and second guess her because I have an opportunity to make money myself. You know, and I know black females in the 60s didn't have the same opportunities that I have, you know, now.
You're 100%
So
right.
I would never have done that to my kid, but I walk in my shoes, and in my shoes, I can make something else happen. You know what I mean? I could make something else happen. I wouldn't have done it. But she probably, maybe she felt, since you were handicapped and you probably got a lot of her attention when you were young, that it was time for you to give back to the family. But by the same token, if she felt that way, I still think you deserve to have a conversation. You know, I think she should have told you, look, you know, I've done this, this, and this for you. I love you, but now I love your brother, and I don't know any other way out of this. Because you might could have thought of a way out of it. Because if she would have let you go do basketball back then, underhanded, they paid people to do basketball scholarships.
Yes.
So, I mean, she could have maybe gotten the money another way if they'd have talked about it and maybe talked to the coaches, because all of them were given poor parents money for them to go to colleges.
Yes,
so he could have gone to a college and gotten some money.
I had many scholarships in
Yeah,
basketball.
and they'll kick some money in if you need the money for a lawyer.
Miss
In
King.
some schools have an alumni where a lawyer from that college might have gone and represented the kid. You know, but I'm just saying, to me, she didn't explore her options enough. Like, talk to him and then talk to the coach and say, look, I'm ready to do this for him because I want to do this for my other kid. Is there another way out?
And you know, I thought about many things.
Did she know that you didn't like baseball that much? Maybe she thought that was your first love.
Well, everyone did. Because,
But did you say it? I mean, why? Or was that just what you were best
Well, it
at?
was just, no, it was the whole thing about I played all the sports. And it really didn't really matter what sport I played. I was at the top of the line on it.
But did she understand that your favorite was basketball?
I don't think she did.
I don't think she did
I don't
either.
think she did. I don't think she did. I was telling a friend of mine, James Montgomery, that's part of KCOH Radio, Mr. Baseball.
Yeah.
He knew my mother. Well, he'd been knowing my mother since '83. He met her, and we used to talk about it you know, when I would get angry. And you know, Ms. King, I know that I have a bad attitude, you know, and I push my wife through some things that she shouldn't have to go through. But penitentiary did that too.
Let's
You know,
stop and take a phone
yeah.
call. I see that we have a phone call. Caller, turn your volume down and ask your question. And thank you for calling.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Now, I just wanted to say that you got to consider the time period. In '66, things were a lot different than it is now, or 56. Or, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So his mother more than likely got tricked. And they gave her some, you know, as far as the house, as far as when I'm here. I'm not sure. I'm getting like a bad echo on the phone.
But we can hear you. We can go ahead,
Okay.
keep on, push through it. I know
Okay.
we have a weird sound system these days, but push through. We can hear you.
Okay. Well, so mom, she probably was doing the best that she knew how. And plus, at that time, that would seem like a lot. A house, education for his girl. I'm sure they probably gave him a little something.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, he
He's
left.
shaking his head over here. Oh yeah, he's shaking his head. Oh yeah, they gave him something.
So, you know, at that time, I can understand he didn't make the decision for himself, but evidently he didn't know, he didn't know at 18 what was going on either. So I wanted to know, what did he get?
What did you
from
get?
the deal?
Do you remember what you got from the deal?
Yeah, I got about $20,000 or $30,000 at
Wow.
that time.
That's a lot of money. Did you hear him,
A
caller?
lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
In ~66, that's a lot of money.
I was born in '67, but I'm glad that the brother have, still around. He's an elder, looking good too, bro.
Thank you, brother.
And one more thing I want to say, Vivian, is that things are changing, and the youth that's out here protesting and doing these things are a different breed. You know, I don't condone, them, putting themselves in harm's way, but I just want to say big up to the youth and, may the Creator protect them. All right, thanks.
God bless you, and thank you, caller. I agree with you. I don't want them to be hurt or hurt anybody, but they do need to stand up and talk and unite. All right, so you were angry, and but at first you're playing baseball and doing your thing, and so when did you realize you were resenting it? Because, resentment has to kind of brew a little bit.
A little bit.
It has to brew. You got some money, your mama got a new house, I'm sure she got a lawyer for your brother, so you can't be too mad right then, just a little mad.
That's right.
So when did it start brewing inside of you? When did you start acting out?
When I wasn't performing as well as I could have.
But now you're dealing with world-class athletes, so
Yeah.
it's not
well,
like high school.
it's the best.
It's the best
and
of
this
the best.
And this is what I remember. J.C. Hardman, when I first got there, J.C. Hardman was kind of like my mentor. J.C. took me kind of up on his arms. Jimmy Wynn and Joe Morgan, I was around those guys, and I was told this here. I went down there with my high school jackets, patches everywhere on both sleeves, and when I got down there, when they picked me up at the airport, at Mirabin, Florida, when they picked me up, they say, well, you know what? You're among a lot of great athletes, just like yourself. And we drafted you because we know you'll be successful if you listen.
Ooh.
That was the key word, listen. I wouldn't listen. I threw the baseball up in the high 96, 97s in high school. Hit the baseball as well as I threw it. So I could have done many things if my mindset would have been on that to do it. It wasn't. Now basketball, I don't tell how great I could have been because I slept with a basketball in the bed with me. Mm. See, this story brings tears to my eyes when I know I couldn't walk. Mm-hmm. When I know I had to be helped up to get on sticks, and when I was able after, and I know it was a God thing. Mm-hmm. I know that I have dealt with angels in my life. Mm-hmm. I know that when I was in the penitentiary locked up.
Don't take me there. Take me how you got to the penitentiary. Let's get there first.
Messing with cocaine and doing things. I thought I was set up, but my wife made me realize that I wasn't set up. A guy used my vehicle, and when he brought it back to me, I had my service station on Washington Avenue. It was called Bill-Up Service Station at that time, and I get in my vehicle to drive off, boom, when they stopped me, there the cocaine is. And by me being who I were, I want to fight the police. So I understand that how the police were then, because I don't know if you can remember, we had a police chief called Herman Shaw at that time.
I heard of him.
They was killing blacks when they threw this Mexican off in the bayou, handcuffed.
Oh, yeah.
So this has been going on in Houston.
Right.
And I with the attitude I had, I just got to the point where I just didn't care. You know, I just...
So when the police stopped you and said you had cocaine in the car, was it your cocaine or was it the guy's cocaine?
Well, it wasn't mine. I knew who it was for. I was part of it.
Okay, you were part of it.
I was part of it, but...
Because somebody is not going to leave something that valuable in your vehicle.
And I don't think, no, I think it was, I feel it was a setup.
Okay.
I don't think
you can feel like you feel.
I feel it was a setup, but the whole thing about it is that
So was the cocaine out in the open, or did the officer have to search his vehicle?
up under the passenger seat.
And why did the officer go in the passenger seat?
Well, he asked me if he could search my vehicle.
Why?
Well, he said that when I left my station, I used to take the money out the safe and put it in a paper box so that nobody know what it was. So he claimed that he seen me come out the station with something in a box, and he did. So when he see all the money, he said the money was from trafficking cocaine.
Was that before he found the cocaine?
Yeah. Yeah, but...
That's why you think it was a setup.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. How much cocaine was it?
Oh, 2.5 kilos.
2.5 kilos. That's a lot of cocaine. Now, that's not a little bit of cocaine.
No, it's not.
Amen.
It's not.
Okay, so is this your first offense?
First offense.
And you're 38 years old.
38 years old.
And you get 30 years of that?
Well, I got 35. I mean, 25.
25?
But by me being so crazy in the penitentiary, I kept losing time. They kept taking time from me.
Now let me ask you about the 25. Did you have a trial or did you plea bargain 25 years?
Well, if I go to trial, I'm gonna get a life sentence.
Even as your first offense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So when
Were
they
any
come,
weapons in the car?
yeah.
Okay.
45.
Okie dokie.
So when it came down to, I fought it for about 2 years.
Were you on bond fighting it? Or
They
were
wouldn't
you in
give me a
jail?
bond.
They wouldn't give you a bond?
With them all the drugs.
Wow.
And they kept telling me that if I keep fighting it, I don't get a life sentence. And me,
Do you remember who your lawyer was?
John Barber. His name was John Barber, the same one that defended my brother.
I don't know.
Yeah, you know, he's
not around
He's
anymore.
gone. He's gone.
Do you remember who the judge was? Was it Love? Judge Love?
Bill Hatton.
Okay. Oh,
Hang 'em
Bill
high.
Hatton.
Hang 'em
Bill-
Hatton.
Oh, Hang 'em High Hatton. Bill
Yeah.
Hatton. Hatton was around lately. He just died lately.
I thought he was a Congress or something. Oh,
Ted Poe went.
Ted Poe. Okay. Yeah. Wild Bill Hatton.
Wow, Bill Hatton. That's what they call him.
Yeah. And he told
Is
me
that the short little man or is that the tall man?
he was kind of tall.
That's the tall one. He used to always put happy faces on there, and he said Godspeed when he sentenced me.
That's
Is that the
right.
same
And he
guy?
would
Yeah.
shake
He
coins.
he actually confirmed me as a lawyer, swore me in
He
1992.
used to take a chain full of money out of his pocket and shake it, and whatever come out, that's what time he give you.
Wow.
And
Wow, Bill Hatton.
he told me, when he told my mom, he said, Robert don't have a record, so we don't know what's going to happen. It scared my mom. And they offered him, if he go to trial, don't give him a life sentence. And me not knowing a life sentence, man, I never get out. I mean, that's what I was thinking.
Back then, life was 15 years.
15 years.
Life was 15 years. Life's not 15 years now,
Yeah.
but in 1983, life was 15 years.
So I tell him, well, listen to the jailhouse lawyers.
Of course, which drives me crazy.
Yeah,
Let me just
yeah,
say that.
yeah.
I'll go see my client and tell him something Sunday, and I have to spend most of my time deflecting what the jailhouse lawyers have said. I can't even come to do what I came to do.
That's right.
And then after I convince them that I'm right and the jailhouse lawyers are wrong, then on Tuesday when we get to court, I got to go through the same conversation again. His mother is telling me The same thing I spent 2 hours after church. Now, my time is valuable. Let me go to church and come minister to my clients and tell them what's going on. I don't want to hear what all these people that's in the penitentiary,
right.
in jail, just like you, are telling me. I don't want to talk about that.
I'm telling you.
But anyway,
and that's the
digress.
truth. And that's the truth. I didn't pay attention to what my lawyer was saying, but they telling me, well, he a sellout lawyer.
Right. So you spend all your time fighting with your lawyer that you're paying for.
Yeah, but you know, when it got down to, and then when I went to, kept going to court, they wore me out because they had me up in the rehab up in Humble, and they kept busting me down and busting me
And they
back.
do it real early
That's
in
the
the
why
morning.
y'all. That's the why we out.
It wears you
Yeah,
out.
yeah. So when I went to, we finna dress out. What is it, pre-trial?
Pre-trial, right. Pre-trial motion.
Yeah, yeah.
Or it was a trial date.
A date had been set, and it was on a Friday when they picked me up. I dressed out to go to trial, and my lawyer come to me and said, "Man," he said, "look," he said, "you want to play Russian roulette with your life?" I said, "What you mean?" He said, "Man," he said, "it's your life. I really don't want to try this here." So now I'm stuck out. You don't want to try it. He said, "The judge will give you 25 years right now if you take it." So I said, "Can I come back on Monday? And do I have time to make a decision?" So he take me before the judge and the DA, and I tell him, I said, "You don't have time to make a decision." I said, "Because I really want to." And the judge said, "You have a right to go to trial." He said, "That's your right." He said, "But Robert, I'm gonna tell you something." He said, "I talked with your mom." He said, "And you don't have a bad record at all. Say no childhood, not anything." He said, "Man, but you got caught dead to right." I said, "I'm innocent." He said, "Well, you know," he said, that's not up to me. It's up to
So when
the
you were
jury."
saying you're innocent, were you innocent? Or that's just the way you felt?
Well, at that point in time, I convinced myself that I was innocent.
Because you participated in buying the cocaine. I mean, even though it might not have been in there, it was a joint deal, right?
Yeah.
It's just that you got caught with it and he didn't.
I was using my station to run it out of. And to me, I convinced myself, and see, I want to say this in front of the world, in front of my wife, that a lot of times I convince myself that things are right, and I know it's wrong. Even though I come back and apologize, the damage is already done.
Right.
And
That happens a lot in male-female relationships.
Yeah.
You know, we say things we shouldn't say.
Oh,
we go
my.
too far.
Yeah.
And then once we think about it for a week or two, we say, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh, yes.
And as a man, you want to take it back. And you can take it back sometimes with women when we love you.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can do it one time too many, and we just
Robert
can't take
is
it no
not the
more.
type of person. Robert is the type of person that I can honestly say that he's very hot-headed, and what he stated is true. Once he places something in his mind, it is literally there, and I do mean literally there. But he also has the mindset that he already knows these things about himself. So when he comes at me with different things, and I have this thing, I'll just say, "Okay, Poppy, no problem." I'll say, "It's all good," and I'll walk off. But at the same time, he know what he has stated has been placed in my heart. But at the same time, because he is such a loving person, Robert has the biggest heart. I mean, literally, he has a big old heart. And sometimes he's even a big teddy bear. But when that bear go to sleep, that lion come out, I sit back.
That's the best thing
But
to do. You know how to handle your man, girl. You don't have to convince
He
me.
will apologize. He's good about apologizing.
You know how to handle your man, girl. You don't have to tell me. But we probably could have a whole show on you telling young girls how to handle their man. Because apparently you know how to handle your man,
Well, but see-
girlfriend. Give me some on that, girlfriend. You know how to handle your man.
Thank you. Thank you.
But you know, I never really been handled. And what I mean by that, I always did what Robert wanted to do. And that's coming from playing sports. But I can share something, Ms. King, about the penitentiary. I think everybody need to know how that thing have really.
So you went in about, what, 1985? 86?
Well, I started about 85. I went in about 86, 87.
How was the penitentiary then?
More corrupt now then than it is now. You had to really, you had billing tenders at that time. They was killing people.
Said what?
Billing tenders. Inmates control the system. They open doors. They tell you when they go eat. Now the bosses are doing it. You may have five or six bosses to maybe 200 inmates, but you had another 50, 60 inmates working with the bosses.
And how does that happen? Is that like an unspoken rule, or is that the TDC rule?
It's no more. They cut it out because it wasn't right.
So how did they used to do y'all?
Well, I was a little different, and what I mean by that, I didn't ride in no gang. I rode solo. I felt that I can do the same thing to them that they do to me.
Right.
That's the mindset I had. So I've been stabbed, been cut. The only way I made it out there was through the grace of God.
Did you have to stab and cut too?
Well, yeah, had to. You have to fight. You know, either you ride or you walk. You go in a man if you don't watch yourself. You come out a lady.
Wow.
Oh yes, yes.
Oh yes. So you definitely, you definitely have to fight for your manhood. It's not a myth.
It's the truth.
Wow. So you had to fight.
Oh, daily. Not only fighting the inmates, you had to fight the bosses, you had to fight the billing tenants who thought they was bosses. So really,
the bosses are the
guards.
The paid
are the guards.
But the bill attendants are the inmates, who think they the bosses.
That they done made
the bosses. They made bosses.
Yeah, the warden.
So they have privileges.
Yeah.
And so you got to fight everybody.
Yeah, either fight them or join them or come out with your wrist bent.
Or be punked by.
Yeah. And I went in a man, I came out a man.
Amen.
You know.
Amen. But everybody's not strong enough to do that.
Exactly. And be honest with you, that's what messed me up so much in my head. You know, because I stayed in seg about 13, 14 years.
Woo, that's a long time to be in segregation.
In a cage locked up with chicken water. You can't even get out. You can't get no air. And I was on level 3.
What's that?
I'd had nothing in the cell. They took everything. I stayed in the cell maybe 5 years, didn't know what day it was.
Dang.
You know, and...
That'll mess you up. That'll mess your mind up.
The only way I came out sane was I had my Bible. I read from Genesis to Revelation about 15 times. You know, and I tell people this here, and unless you walked in my shoes, that's why so many people hanging themselves in there.
Yeah.
The ones not hanging themselves, the guards are hanging them. You know, and I refuse to bow down to any man.
Right.
You know, and that's the mindset I had. And when I was able to when I was in population, I never stayed in population long because of my attitude. You know, you gonna tell me when to go eat, when to do this and that. And understand me coming out of the world, being successful, and then going to the penitentiary and having
that was
people.
A hard transition.
It was tough for me. And here's the sad thing about it. It's life as I went on in the penitentiary. When my mother told me this here, I haven't ever shared this with my wife, I don't think. It's an old saying my wife have, and I believe her. It's a lot of things she's gonna take to her grave with her. A lot of things I'm gonna take to my grave with me.
Yes, sir.
Being down there locked up, everything cut off from me. I'm in a cell, no clothes on. It's cold, nothing to cover up with, because they saying, well, we gonna break you.
Right.
And I was determined for them not to break me.
Right.
See, you're not gonna break me, you know. I went in seg, I was 252 pounds, almost lifting 300 pounds, almost 400 pounds iron, about 350. And when I come out of there, I was about 160 pounds. So I have a whole lot of resentment, have a whole lot of anger inside of me.
How tall are you?
6'4".
Oh, wow.
I had a whole lot of anger, and I want to be honest about this here. I'm here today only because I want this story to get out. I want people to understand that we can be our worst enemy, and I was my worst enemy.
And how was that, sir?
Well, I could have done things different. My partner tell me all the time, take the gloves off. I still got them on.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell my wife, and I love her tremendously,
Amen.
I tell her all the time that it's not me. That's what's in my head. You know, that's what's in my head. And till I can get to the help I truly need, then I admit I need help. Because it's a lot of times that I could go sit in a corner in the dark and be all right.
Because you did it for so long?
Did it so long. That's what I do.
Right.
You know, and
you can just meditate by yourself.
Yeah, I'm all right.
You can be by yourself.
Yeah, I'm all right. And like I say, 22 years, 22 calendar years, 13 or 14 in SEG.
God bless you.
You know, half the time I didn't have toothpaste or toothbrush. Then, you know, I was scared to eat the food because I felt they was trying to poison me through my food. And all I ever had in my life was my mother. And when she passed in 2003 or 2002, I had no money coming in. Nobody sending me anything.
None of your children passed away?
Nobody sending me anything.
Made you more bitter.
Yeah, it made me more bitter because I know what I had done for them. I know what I had done for my family. And, you know, I used to tell people all the time, man, you know what, I used to pray for cold soda. You know, I used to pray for cold soda. Ice cream, seeing people going to commissary, buying different things, and just they fighting to get to the store. And I'm steady saying, well, man, you know, all that come through my hands.
And here I am with
I
nothing.
can't buy nothing.
Can't buy a cold soda. Can't buy some toothpaste.
Oh my God.
God bless
You know.
Oh my God.
You know. So when I tell my story, when I tell the bitterness that's caught up in me, people don't realize that it's something in me. It's a tug of war. One pulling this way, one pulling that way. That's why I stand on Romans chapter 7, verse 14. The things that I do, I don't choose to do. The sin in me does those things. Who can keep me out of this situation? It's only Jesus. And I set up and I held on to Jesus. Held on to him for dear life.
Amen.
Because they tried to kill me 2 or 3 times. Police handcuffed me and beat me. Just beat me.
Beat you.
See, a lot of people don't know my story. See, you have to be strong. Let me say this here. You had to be blessed. And God blessed me. I was 88, 89. I had 3 surgeries on my leg. They finna amputate it.
In jail?
In prison.
In prison.
In 90. And they couldn't find out I had a bone disease called osteomyelitis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Emma.
That sounds good.
Okay. And they was taking me from the prison side to the freeway side where they did surgery. And I was on this gurney, and the guards was pushing me, kept telling me, yeah, you're going to be one leg, we can get you now. You know, and I'm thinking, well, you know, even though I was leg cut wide open like you feel like a fish, so air can get to it. I'm still telling them, no, I'll have one leg and beat you, you know. but
I'm still beat your ass with one leg.
Yeah, but as I enter the holdover cell, I remember this like it was yesterday because I know Romans. Hebrew 13 said, "Be careful who you entertain. Some entertain angels, not knowing."
Right.
So as I went on and realized that when this guy told him, said, hey, that spot you're looking for on his leg, that the disease, he said, it's right there. He said, cut that spot out, take a bone out of his side and stuff his leg. And he disappeared. I went out.
Say that again? And some angel, some mystery man.
The doctor said, never seen him before, he wasn't on their staff. Never seen him after that.
And what'd he say?
He told me, he said, that spot right there on his leg, he put him in a tube. They put him in this tube. They put him in a tube, and they said a big old screen. He said, that's that right there. The spot y'all been looking for, he said, that's right there. It was big, about small as a pencil head on lead. He said, and cut it out, take a bone out of the side and stuff it. And he went away. I don't know how long it was before I got back up onto the 7th floor where they held the prisoners. But when the nurse come in, she said, Mr. Santee, how you doing? I said, well, I'm numb. I can't feel anything. I don't feel anything. She said, I said, I don't feel any.
Give it to him too. I
Yeah.
got two.
I said, I don't feel anything. I said, do I have my leg? She said, I'll let the doctor talk to you about it. So the doctor come in later on. He said, Robert, he said, how you doing? See, usually they call you by your numbers. They don't call you by your name. But I had been there so long, he's my doctor so long that we was on personal level. He said, Robert, how you doing? I said, Doc, do I have both legs? He said, you have both of them. He said, you know, I said, who's that doctor? He said, we've never seen him before. He's not on our staff, and we don't know where he is now. And as I was able to meditate on my word like I do, I understand that God sent that angel in order to, see, God wanted to keep me whole with both my legs. He wanted what I have to do for him, I have to be whole. I wasn't whole all my life because I was walking on sticks. But after God healed my legs, now he's going to show me I'm going to heal them again. And they say my leg will be shorter than another. It's not short. Both of them, I walk the same way. But my story, Miss King, I want to touch many youngsters. I want to let them know no matter who you are, what you are, you have to believe in yourself. And that was my strongest force. I believed in Robert Santee. I believed I could do anything I want to do, whenever I want to do it. Was it right? Maybe not. But that kept me going in that hole, in that penitentiary hole. They had me in a hole that we got a little girl dog. We don't let her live like that. You know, because they was trying to break me. And I was on the toughest farm it was, Rockin' D, Darrington. One life flight leave, another come. We were stepping over bodies. I see many things. And a lot of times, before I met my wife, I used to sit up all night. She knows the story. Sit up all night, wouldn't go to sleep, drank coffee all night.
After you got out of the penitentiary?
Yeah, drank coffee all night, stepping up. Because I was always watching I was on guard.
Scared. Something
On guard. On
ready
guard.
to fight.
She tell you now at home, I walk all night checking doors and things.
Who you think is after you, Robert?
Well, it's
know you
just
got
it's my mindset.
You got angels.
You know,
there.
you just have to be on guard. And I tell
So it's like you have PTSD, what you call it?
Post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, and you really probably need to get some treatment for that.
I've told him that.
Because I think you could go to MHMRA for free treatment, and people in war zones and communities with abusive families can be diagnosed with PTSD, and that's part of the symptoms of it when you're that paranoid that something's about to happen, that you're going to be on guard. Because, I mean, what's the difference between being in a war zone, being on guard, and being in prison and being on guard? And you were in a prison war situation for 22 years. Most people go for 6 months or 2 years. You were there for 22 years.
Then went back and did an extra 8 after being out a year behind a young lady that,
We got 3 minutes, Robert.
yeah, a young lady just really was bad or worse than I am.
And that's the worst thing to do is get out of prison and get with a woman that's worse than you are. You have to get whole first and then try to find a whole person, or as whole as you can be.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't be
That's
codependent.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, you have to do that.
That's right.
This 1 hour without commercials passed fast, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes.
It does.
So think about what you want to say closing. I'm going to let Johnny say something. Johnny, take about 30 to 60 seconds and say what you want to say to our viewing audience.
Well, one of the things, when I was approached by Mr. Santee about doing this book, as a writer, I focus on more of the emotional side. And as we all sit here, this was an emotional subject for Mr. Santee. And the stats, all that's good and fine, but it's all about knowing and understanding the person and how to evolve from being in that certain situation to becoming a productive person in life.
Thank you for your comments. And Wifey, Miss Rochelle, what do you want to say?
Basically, I'm going to say this. Any marriage requires work. And if you trust God, first of all, and then you love that man, you're going to do the good and the bad, because we all know Mama and Daddy didn't stay married 30, 40, 50 years, and they didn't go through something. Now, it may not be to the extent of what Robert is going through, but at the same time, Robert always told me when he met me, he said God told me he was going to give him a strong wife. Well, if I don't know how to do anything else, I tell my husband all the time, I know how to fight. And right now, I'm fighting for him, and I'm fighting for me.
Ooh, I know
But
you
more than
fight.
anything, I'm fighting for my marriage, because I am a strong woman.
Amen. Amen. So how you want to wrap it up, Mr. Santee?
Well, you
And
know,
you're welcome to come back and share more wisdom. You know a lot, and you can share a lot with young people for us.
what I want to really say, first of all, I want to thank Jesus, my
Amen.
author and finisher of my life. I want to thank him for giving me to my wife, as he said he would give me a strong wife to help me with my ministry and walk this walk. And everything he told me have been true, because she's all that. But I want to thank you for having me on your show.
Amen.
And I truly, truly want to share some things to try to help these kids, because that's what I'm about. Because, see, I know that what I have been through, God gave me this to glorify him. And if I can help these youngsters, and I know I can, because I know my story is going to touch a whole lot of people.
Yes.
Because that's just some of it. It ain't.
We're gonna come back for part 2.
Yeah.
You've been on this earth a long time. We can do part 2 and 3.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I got a part 2 and a part 3 in there.
That's right.
5 and 6 too.
Yeah, 5 and 6 too. Well, we got 30 minutes to wrap it up, so I'm going to wrap it up by thanking my guests for coming. Thank you, Mr. Santee, for giving us your emotional story and putting it out there for us so we can learn from your pain, your triumphs, and your triumphs. And thank you, Johnny, for writing the book. And thank you, Miss Santee, for coming and keeping him on schedule.
Thank you for
and
your
making
courtesy for allowing us to be here.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, viewers, as I always do, that we learn something from Mr. Santee's story. You know, one of my ministries was to brings people's stories to life. We hear the negative on the news every night from the majority, who we respect and we love, but we also have deeper stories to tell.
Oh, yes.
You know, the majority throws us in prison and locks away the key, but they don't know who they've thrown away. They don't know what they've done to us. They don't know what they've done to our families. When you're in prison and you can't be at your mother's funeral, you can't watch her live in her life, how you destroy families. We've got to change that, and I'm hoping I might not be here to see it, and that's why I'm creating this body of work that I put on YouTube, so someday kids can watch it and make sure we make a difference in politics, in the way we treat people. For some dope, you got to spend 30 years and be treated like an animal?
Right.
I just don't think so. I just don't think so. I think we need to put people in prison for 30 years that hurt people.
Right.
Not people who we're mad at because he had some dope on him. And I hope we change the laws. But until then, all I can do, because I have no power other than the power of urban media, is to tell your stories. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell your stories. And I will be here next Wednesday, ready to tell another story on Truth and Justice with Vivian King. Thank you.